What's up, phone destroyers? It's your boy Andy Marsh, and today we are talking about balance changes. And holy cow, do we have some big ones coming. I mean, I'm not even going to waste time. Let's get right into it. Stand of Many Moons. I mean, this one is huge. Health increased by 17%. Power range is now 3, but units outside of the range will take half the power damage. Power damage decreased by 20%, charge duration decreased by 35%, and a description updated to match the power. Wow, that description is going to be very exciting. But Red Links writes,
Stand of Many Moons power has kept Lightning Bolt, Unholy Combustion, and Transmogrify as default spells just to deal with it. With this small rework, we want the power to feel as legendary as before, with the focus on incentivizing playing Stand of Many Moons as a true fighter. He can still deal some damage to faraway enemies, but the closer enemies will take more damage. With a faster charge rate, the power will be his default tool in a fight.
So, this is huge. Stand of Many Moons is not going to wipe out the map anymore. It is going to take out a small group with a lot of damage, and then everyone else is going to get just a little bit of damage. You know, they're going to get some chip, if you will. This could definitely be changing the meta. Stand of Many Moons is rampant in Legendary. You know, a level 4, I'm seeing more and more level 5s these days, and that is a pretty scary sight to see when your enemy spawns him. So this will be very interesting to see how this affects how much he's played. And only time will tell, but this is exciting. And even more exciting, Pope Timmy. Pope Timmy now picks the cheapest card from your hand. He will no longer bring back the last unit that fell in battle. Energy cost decreased by 17%, attack increased by 19%, DPS increased by 19%, and another updated description. Can't wait for that. But Red Links writes,
Pope Timmy for a while has had a very strong synergy with Call Girl, making it the default pair for him. There was no easy and fair options to keep the power as is while keeping the Call Girl combo in check. And so we had to approach Pope Timmy at a different angle. The new Pope Timmy will spawn a card from your hand. The power works the same way as Call Girl. However, Timmy will always pick the cheapest ally with a minimum cost of 3 energy. If there are multiple cards of the same cost, Timmy will pick randomly between them. Given the new power, Pope Timmy's stats were upgraded so that he will always give value for the energy spent. We are aware that this causes a shift in the way Pope Timmy is played, and hope that it still remains as a favorite for the fans of the card. We will keep a close eye on how the new Pope performs and ensure that he will not get left behind.
I mean, this is definitely meta changing. Okay? Pope Timmy is not bringing back the last fell unit, so he's not even bringing back tanks. No one's bringing back tanks now. So Man Bear Pig, we might not see much more Man Bear Pig, to be honest, because he's so expensive. But the fact that Pope Timmy doesn't bring back the tanks anymore, and he won't be able to do the Call Girl combo, I mean, this is going to be huge. So we will see how this affects it, but this will definitely change Mystical. Because when you play Mystical, you almost always play Pope Timmy if you're running any kind of tanks whatsoever. So I am very excited to see how this affects gameplay. Wow. Mimisy. Movement speed increased by 39%. Red Links writes,
Since superheroes were introduced, damage has become the dominant strategy. This has had a particularly negative side effect on slow-moving tanks who would end up losing their health faster than a typical tank should. In this patch, we are giving Mimisy increased movement speed to let him complete his mission faster. We will keep an eye on the impact of this small change and look forward to aid more tanks in the future.
So I think this is great. I mean, ever since I got into Legendary, I mean, you never see Mimisy. I remember watching videos of Haze Demon playing his level 7 Mimisy, and that was very exciting to watch, but other than him, I rarely see Mimisy ever, because he's dealt with too easily. He walks too slow, you put out a few assassins, and they take him out pretty quickly. It's pretty easy. So this will be very interesting to see. Now, notice it doesn't change his attack speed, just his movement speed. So he will still be punching very slowly. He will still be getting just a tiny bit of chip damage, but hopefully he can get to the new kid faster and then start doing that chip damage. So we will see how this goes, but this is definitely going to be an interesting change. Nathan, attack increased by 33%, DPS increased by 33%, AoE knockback impulse increased by 150%, AoE knockback increased by 25%. So I'm not really sure exactly what the knockback impulse is. If you know, let me know in the comments below. But Redlinks writes,
We are also looking at our mortar units who attack slowly from very far away. What a better target than Mimisy's friend Nathan. Nathan will now be able to cause more destruction with his attack, causing increased knockback all targets caught in the bomb's area. Additionally, an attack damage buff should get him closer to the standard we have introduced with recent Ranger.
I think this is going to be a great change. I like Nathan. I think Nathan is a very undervalued range unit, and just the fact that he's going to be knocking back units more, whether that's good or bad, I'm not really sure. But again, having him have more attack, I think is going to be great. And I look forward to seeing this and more Elven King Bradley. I imagine that combo we're going to see a lot more when this change comes out. Speaking of Bradley, Frontier Bradley. Health decreased by 21%, attack increased by 33%, attack buff decreased by 20%. This is kind of a good change. I think this is well deserved. I think he was a little bit overpowered, and I think this will bring him back down to where he needs to be. Redlinks writes,
Frontier Bradley has been hard to deal with at lower ranks. With these changes, we are aiming to make his fighter buff less impressive for lower ranked players while giving tools to higher ranked players in the form of an attack damage buff.
One of the gripes I have for Frontier Bradley is that when he ends up taking out the new kid and he's blown back, he's still alive. So he still is on there on the map when he should be killed with a new kid blast, in my opinion. Now, granted, again, I am at max 25, so when I'm playing against units like that, the blast from my new kid is bigger than maybe some of this at the lower levels. So, I don't really know how this is going to affect lower levels because I'm not there. I do have another account, which maybe I'll bring out eventually, but we'll see how this works. But I think this is a well-deserved change. Ice Sniper Wendy, time between attacks increased by 11%, DPS decreased by 10%. So this one is going to be about just the fact that she attacks too fast to where you might not even use her freeze because it will slow you down. So they're slowing down her attack to make it that it is valuable to use her freeze than to just not. So I think this is fine. President Garrison, aggro range decreased by 20%, attack range decreased by 53%. Redlinks goes on to say,
Last round, we adjusted the way that our melee area attackers' attack range work, and we forgot our dear President Garrison. He will now also have an easier time getting more enemies within his area of attack.
So this one, simple one, just his range is getting shrunk the way that the other area attackers were changed in the last update. So it's not a big deal. This isn't going to change much. Garrison is really not played that much. When you use him, you only get about one charge off, and that's about it. Otherwise, he dies pretty quickly. So is this going to help him? No, but is this smart? Probably. I don't know. I don't look at the data. Manbear Pig. Aggro range decreased by 37%. Knockback decreased by 17%. AoE knockback added 0 to 100. Attack range increased by 40%. I'm not really sure what the AoE knockback is. I mean, he was knocking back units before. Anytime like rats or chickens were around him, I mean, he swats them and then they go flying. So I don't really know what this is adding, but this would be interesting to see and see how this affects things. But Redlinks writes,
The area attacker change also had an unintended side effect for their aggro ranges. This should make Manbear Pig behave a little bit better in a fight.
And then they're going to be looking at Nelly and Super Craig in the future updates. But this is interesting. I don't really know exactly how this is going to change Manbear Pig, but I will certainly play him and see if I notice a difference. And if you know what all this means, let me know in the comments below, please. So, ultimately, we're talking about Pope Timmy. We're talking about Stand of Many Moons. And maybe a little Mimsy, a little Frontier Bradley. But this is a huge change for Mystical and Adventure. I think that this is very deserved because Stand of Many Moons is a nuisance. He is still tough to deal with, but it still kind of maintains his value a little bit. And so we will see how this affects things. And Pope Timmy, holy cow, this is a big one. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to something else because I'm just so tired of the predictable plays. using Pope Timmy. Someone puts out a Man Bear Pig, they draw no more cards, and you can just tell that they're getting the Pope ready. And unless you're ready to snipe, which, you know, I'm never ready to do that, I'll just deal with it. I think this is a good change. A lot of people are going to be very upset about this, though. I think a lot of these changes are going to upset a lot of people. But, you know, on this channel, we improvise, we adapt, we overcome, and we will be playing probably a adventure mystical deck when these changes come out, because I will definitely want to try these out. We'll get Mimisy in there. We'll get Nathan in there. We'll get Frontier Bradley in there. This is going to be a fun deck when all these changes come out. So what do you think about these changes? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be putting out more update videos as they come, so be ready for those. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.